Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Wednesday. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. Um, Obviously, we got the Fed news. The Fed news actually raised rates by 75 basis points, which is really good. Markets obviously enjoyed it. So the markets are up green right now. Let's take a look at them here. So obviously, S&P 500 is up, Dow Jones is up, NASDAQ is all up. Bitcoin is even up a little bit on the news. So we'll get into it here. But as always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill. I'm invested in the following coins and companies, and we'll also take a look at a couple stories here on Bitcoin itself and another topic here, and we'll call it a day. So let's get back into it here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. So here's a Bitcoin chart on the 15-minute chart. And right now it is at 21,685. It was falling to almost 20,000 in the overnight hours. We reached a low of, let me see here, about 20,100 or so. We wicked down a little bit lower than that to about 20,077. But we have obviously come up from that. And during the morning hours, we were sliding down before the announcement from the Fed. We can see here that right on that, 15 minutes before the announcement, the price started falling down. After the announcement, price of Bitcoin started going back up. Here's something that I do like on the Bitcoin chart, which is looking at the RSI. RSI is flat from this period to this period, but we do see an increase in the price, which is good. This is a good sign. At least this is a good first telling sign that we may possibly be going up a little bit higher here, but we'll take a look at the 1-hour chart as well on that, because that will obviously point us in the right direction overall, along with the 4-hour. And I think we're just going to need to wait to get more data on it. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart here. So this is the span that we're looking at here between here and here. We've gone up, obviously. I'm looking for confirmation here on the RSI on the 1-hour chart that we are going up. Right now, I'd have to go further back, way back here to where we were about the same, which is over here, which is quite a ways back. A little bit too far to tell. We need it to be a little bit closer by to see if we were having price increase. RSI is at least holding steady or going down. That would be one good sign as well to basically let us know that the price of Bitcoin is going to be going up for a little bit. But we'll have to see. It's just a little too early to tell right now. All right, let's take a look at here at it on the 4-hour chart as well. 4-hour chart, we've seen 4 green candles right now, which is good. Also, we're kind of bottoming out here. And like I've said before, we are way oversold here on the daily chart, looking at the RSI, and on the weekly chart, if we look at it. We are way under. We are at 25. Last time we were this low, we weren't even this low back in December of 18, where we were right around 3,000. We weren't that low on the RSI for the weekly chart. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I could be wrong, but I'm hoping this could be the bottom possibly, or if not, we're very, very close to the bottom based on just these indicators here on the RSI. Obviously, they're not always the most accurate, but they do provide us with a little bit of information, which I think is important enough to talk about. The other thing is on the weekly 200 moving average, if we show that as well, we can see here we did dip below it back in March of 2020. If we zoom in on that one, we can see that we dipped for it basically just 1 week down, and then we were climbing up the other week. We got above it, and then ever since then we've stayed above it. And that's obviously going back to 2018. This chart doesn't go all the way further back, but I would imagine it'd be pretty similar to this, where we did, touch it a couple of times here on the weekly chart and go above it. This seems to be kind of our support here, and we are pretty far below it right now. Obviously, we're way below it than we've ever been on the chart. So that leads me to believe also that we are oversold, and that we may be finally coming back out of it, but we're still not out of the woods yet. We'll obviously have to see how this RSI continues going on further, but right now I think we're getting close to the bottom, but I just don't know exactly where it's going to be. But at least the technical analysis is showing me that we're oversold, way oversold. And we'll talk about a Bitcoin story as well that others are seeing that it's just way oversold based on different metrics. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at Ethereum here. Ethereum is at 1,176. It obviously came down pretty close as well on the weekly here where did it go? We hit a low of $1,012.72. So we're bouncing off of that 1,000 and then 20,000 for Bitcoin as well. and we'll see how it goes. But we're still down 2.59% on the week or on the day here in Ethereum. And hopefully the 4 hours, we got 4 candles of green here on the 4-hour chart, and the 1 hour is looking better as well. Looking at the RSI, on the 1 hour chart, we're about here, and we're getting close to that, where I think we may be starting to flip a little bit, where price is going to go up and the RSI is going to go flat or go down a little bit. But we'll see. Time will tell on that one. All right, let's take a look at the miners. The miners were a little bit mixed today. Some were up, some were down. Let's see here. Stocks. There we go. Miners. So Annie was down 2.99% today to 71 cents, up a little bit in the after hours. It reached a new 52-week low today at 68 cents. Argo was down 3.02% to 41 cents. It also reached a new 52-week low of 40 cents. Bit Digital was actually up today 3.10% to $1.33, up a little bit more in the after hours to $1.37. Bitfarms was up 4.38% to $1.43, up a little bit in the after hours to $1.44. CleanSpark was down today 0.45 to $4.41. It hit a new 52-week low of $4.20.5. On that one, it's up a little bit in the after hours to $4.54. Cores was up nicely today to 6.54% to $2.28. Now it's down 7% in the after hours to $2.12. DigiHost, let's see, did they reach a new? Nope. DigiHost was up 1.63% to $1.25. DMG was down 1.69% to 19.75. And Hive was up 2.65% to $3.10, up a little bit more in the after hours to $3.17. Hut 8 was down 0.59% to $1.68, up a little bit in the after hours to $1.70. And then Iris Energy was up 0.26% to $3.88, and then up a little bit more in the after hours to $3.90. And Luxfolio was down 15.13% to 9 cents, a little bit more than 9 cents, but obviously reached a new 52-week low as well. Marathon was down 1% to $6.87, up a little bit in the after hours to $6.90. Mawson was down 1.17% to $1.69. It reached a new 52-week low as well at $1.62. Riot was down 0.61% to $4.86, down a little bit more in the after hours to $4.84. And finally, Stronghold was down today 0.27 to $1.82. It did have a new 52-week low of $1.72 here. So we're still getting those 52-week lows on some of these miners, while some are starting to bounce a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at it here. So obviously the stocks rallied after Powell's announcement. So Dow snaps a 5-day slide, which is good. And we obviously got the 75 basis points increase. Some were calling for $1. Some were even calling for $1. For 100 basis points, some were also calling for 200 basis points. But that would have been a real shock to the system. So I think given that they are able to increase the basis points instead of the 50 going to 75, that they are trying to combat, obviously, inflation. And they are still trying to get into a soft landing on it. We'll see how that plays out. We'll have, obviously, another rate hike in July. We'll see what that is. Then we'll see what, obviously, the CPI data is for June and July as well. And then let's take a look at here. So Top Fidelity macro analyst says Bitcoin way oversold as key on-chain metric reaches 211 levels. And let's see what he's talking about here. So Fidelity's director of global macro, Jurian Timmer, is updating his outlook on Bitcoin as the leading crypto asset by market cap struggles near the 20,000 level. Timmer tells his 126,000 Twitter followers that when considering Bitcoin's price to earnings metric, a metric traditionally used to value stocks by comparing the company's earnings with its stock price, BTC is currently significantly undervalued. All right, so it looks we're not the only ones that are seeing Bitcoin being undervalued or oversold. And here's what he's comparing to. So is BTC cheaper than what it looks? If we consider simple price to earnings metric for BTC to be the price network ratio, then the ratio is back to 2017 and 2013 levels. And even though BTC itself is only back to late 2020 levels, valuation is often more important than price. Right, so that's kind of what we're seeing as well, with how on the other side it's kind of way oversold, right? So we're seeing the same thing here. So here's a chart for it. You can see Bitcoin obviously going up here to 67,000, and you're seeing the BTC price network ratio per million addresses, and it has been coming down, and we can see that is obviously It's below 649. Last time was in 2017, and then obviously over here in 2013 or so. So we are way under from where we should be on that one. And then we have another chart here. Another way to highlight this is by overlaying Bitcoin's non-zero addresses against its price. Price is now below the network curve. So here's the price of Bitcoin, obviously, or the Bitcoin, the way it's been going, and Bitcoin's demand curve. And here is the, let me see, the dotted line is the BTC non-zero addresses power regression, and then the orange line is the BTC non-zero addresses, and then BTC market cap is obviously the black one here. And we can see Bitcoin market cap is below the BTC non-zero addresses. So that's a sign that we are also undervalued. We saw this back in 2018 as well. And then it also happened between 2014 until right around half of 2016 or so. So that's another sign that we are undervalued. Finally, the next chart shows how technically oversold Bitcoin is. Glassnode's dormancy flow indicator is now to levels not seen since 2011. So the way that they're doing it, it's kind of complicated, is entity-adjusted dormancy flow is the ratio of the current market capitalization and the annualized dormancy value measured in USD. Dormancy is the average number of days destroyed per coin transacted and is defined as the ratio of coin days destroyed in total transfer volume. Pretty complicated here. And coin days destroyed for any given transaction is calculated by taking the number of coins in a transaction and multiplying it by the number of days it has been since those coins were last spent. So a lot of stuff flowing through there. So you obviously have BTC price here. You got the purple line, pink line is the S-curve demand model. And then down here you get the entity-adjusted dormancy flows, which are these lines here, looks like. And then the average since 2010 is this line here. So we're obviously way below it here at 178. Last time we were this low was back in 2011. So that's one of those that's also popping up on it. So we're not the only ones here thinking that. Obviously, Bitcoin is way undervalued from where it should be. So hopefully we'll get a little bounce here, but we'll see what happens going forward. And then finally, we've talked about Celsius in the video on Monday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. But here we find out that crypto lending firm Celsius has hired lawyers specializing in business restructuring to help it navigate its thorny financial situation. The Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday, citing people familiar with the matter. So that's obviously not a good sign. If they're hiring restructuring lawyers, that's usually when companies become insolvent. They're getting possibly into bankruptcy. So that is obviously not a good sign. So we may be still in a world of hurt in the next couple of days, weeks until we find this out. So there still might be some selling pressure, obviously, in Bitcoin and in other cryptocurrencies as well. So that's it. We got some good news. We got a little bit of bad news. And there's also another firm out of Saudi Arabia, I think, or not Saudi Arabia, out of the Emirates, that is also possibly being insolvent. We'll see if we can get more data on that one. So it's obviously, this market is shaking out the, I wouldn't say weak hands, but it's shaking out the companies that were maybe a little bit too over leveraged, promising more than they can deliver. And we have this with every bear market. Last times, in 2017, 2018, we had the ICO craze that kind of fell apart. This year, time around, we're having the NFTs and also the other participants like Celsius and Terra, Luna, right? So it's going to happen. If we're in a bear market, these things are going to kind of happen. So it is what it is. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.